Good morning. This is your wake-up call.
It's time to wake up, Wisconsin.
Wake me up!
All right, rise and shine, Sleeping Beauty. Come on, hop, hop, hop.
This is the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Wake up, Daddy's home.
Here's your host, Josh Albrecht.
And he pulls that one down the line. It is a fair ball into the corner. Terang is in. Bowers around third. He will score. El Gary drives it a pair. Brewers since the 4th of July. Look at this guy. Joey O playing a little pepper. Drives in Sanchez. Yelich to third. Mitchell, a big bouncer over the head of Naylor. This is going to bring in two more. Mitchell on his way to second. It's a 2 RBI double. And base hit to right. Mitchell will score. Hamilton racing to second base. The throw comes in late. It skips away, and it's an RBI double for David Hamilton. And that one's in the air to center field pretty deep. Rodriguez going back. He's at the wall, and she is gone. Garrett Mitchell backspins one off the batter's eye.
The Milwaukee Brewers win another series. Welcome in. It's the Wisconsin Sports Wake-Up Call here on a Friday morning. No Josh Albrecht again today. He is out. He'll be back next week. Aaron Morse, Ryan Solo here, the 6 o'clock hour. Brandon Snide will join me 7 o'clock hour, and he'll join me at 8 o'clock for the Steve Zabin Show. No Steve Zabin today as well. He will also be back next week. Brewers win it 7-4. They win another series, and now they head into an absolute thriller, at least expected to be an absolute thriller tonight. This afternoon, I guess, as the Brewers and Braves will do battle at 3:10. A little bit of a weird start time today because of the Williamsport game, the Little League World Series game on Sunday. They're playing at 3:10 today to allow for a 1:10 start Saturday so that they can get out of here on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and get to Williamsport by the time that their night game happens on Sunday. So a little bit of extra travel, trying to sneak some travel in. The Braves were in Chicago yesterday afternoon, for a makeup game with the White Sox. And so they were nearby. So a 3:10 game works for both sides. So they're going to do it today, 1:10 Saturday, and a night game ESPN for the Little League World Series game on Sunday. So the Brewers kind of lose a home game this year because of that. We'll get into that later on in the show. But should be a good weekend tonight, this afternoon, 3:10, Jacob Mizorowski on the mound, and Chris Sale, the two lowest ERAs in the National League, the two of the top Cy Young candidates in the National League. Jacob Mizorowski right now is the runaway favorite, as he should be, but Chris Sale has been absolutely fantastic this year. We'll see if the Brewers can handle him. I'm trying to remember. I should have looked this up before the show, but I didn't. So I'm going to do it right now as I continue to talk. I'm trying to remember the Braves-Brewers series in Atlanta. I thought that it was Chris Sale and Jacob Mizorowski in that first series as well. It was either that or it was Kyle Harrison. And that game was fantastic as well. Can't quite remember which one it was. It was Mizorowski and Martin Perez. So couldn't have been Chris Sale. It must have been Harrison. Yeah, it was Kyle Harrison. The first time these two teams met, the Braves won 4-3. That was the game that Ozzie Albies hit 2 home runs. That one was a walk-off that he barely hit out of the field. Don't know how it popped up out of here. Chris Sale went 5 2/3, 5 hits, a walk, no runs allowed against the Brewers. Kyle Harrison went 6 1/3, 4 hits, 2 earned in that one. That was a great game. That was Aaron Ashby giving up that home run to Albies. It basically just gave up a pop-up. Just a pop-up. And that was the game, if you remember, that the Brewers went with a different order of relievers. They went Uribe, McGill, Ashby in 7, 8, 9. They tried to play the matchups, did not work. But we get Mizorowski and Sale this afternoon, 3:10. The leadoff show will be at 2 o'clock. That'll be at 2 o'clock. And on that one will be Mitch Nellis. He will be live from Natty Oaks. He'll be live from Natty Oaks, the Mason Crosby show. Then he'll be live from Natty Oaks for the leadoff show. And I will be producing that one because then Charlie will be on his way out to Natty Oaks for Wisconsin Sports Daily from 3 to 5 or 3 to 5:30 potentially, and whenever the Brewer game gets done, because no Sparky today. So Charlie and I have Wisconsin Sports Daily 3 to 5. Mitch Nellis will have the leadoff show again from Natty Oaks. I'll be on that one as well, 2 to 3, and then the post-game show to follow with Tim and I. So a little bit of a mismatched crew today, but we'll get things done here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, and it's time for us to get things done. What happened yesterday?
Hey, what happened?
Well, what happened is, as I mentioned, the Brewers won 7-4. They win another series. It was a 6-run first inning. So all those runs you heard in the open came in the first inning outside of Garrett Mitchell's solo home run, which was the insurance run in the 8th inning. Straightaway center, lefty. Apparently just the second career homer off of a lefty for Garrett Mitchell. I would have not believed that. I would have thought he would have had a couple more at least off of a lefty, but I guess he doesn't play much against lefties or hasn't played much against lefties in his career. So his second career lefty homer. The Brewers win 7-4 thanks to that 6-run first inning, because otherwise the Brewers offense was pretty stagnant. Garrett Mitchell heading into this series with Seattle, I remember had the leadoff show Tuesday before the game. He was 8 for 74 in his last 74 at-bats. 8 for 74. That's a 108 batting average. In the Seattle series, he only played 2 games. He didn't play that middle game because of a sore foot. In the 2 games he played in this Seattle series, 7 for 10, 2 doubles, a homer, 4 RBIs, and 4 runs scored and 3 RBIs. 7 for 10 in 2 games after going 8 for 74 in that stretch. So he nearly doubled his hit total in his last 85 at-bats just in this series alone. So hopefully he's breaking out of something there now. In those last 84 bats, he's still hitting 200, even with that 7 for 10 number. But it's a lot better than 100. And if this can help him start to get on a roll again, oh, what a good thing for the Brewers that would be. Because they are going to need him to be solidified in center field and be a normal participant to the offense in order to continue to win games. Robert Gasser struggled on the mound. Pat Murphy has pulled another young starting pitcher in the middle of an at-bat. It was a 2-0 count to Randy Arozarena, and Pat Murphy walked out and pulled Gasser after 3 2/3, 4 hits, 4 walks, 4 runs, 4 strikeouts on 77 pitches. So not very efficient for Gasser. I think over half of his pitches were thrown for balls, so he was not locating very well. We'll hear from Robert Gasser here in just a moment, as well as Pat Murphy, into why he pulled Gasser. I think it's pretty evident, though. He wasn't very good. Went to Chad Patrick. Chad Patrick was very good. 2 1/3, 4 strikeouts, gave up just 2 hits in those 2 1/3, and he looked really, really, really sharp. So he covered through the 6th inning for the Brewers. Aaron Ashby came in, gave up a couple walks. Not the typical Aaron Ashby walk. Some of these pitches were extremely close. I mean, we're talking a half an inch or less that these Braves or that the Mariner hitters were taking for balls. So he had a couple walks in his 2 innings, but no hits in those 2 innings. So Chad Patrick and Aaron Ashby combined 4 1/3, no runs, 8 strikeouts to get to Trevor McGill. And Trevor McGill has been, he's been insanely good. I don't know what else to say. 23 saves now in 25 chances. He has retired 30 of the last 31 batters that he has faced. That's 10 appearances. His last 10 appearances, he has not allowed a base runner other than Fernando Tatis Jr. in the Padres series when he worked, I believe what it was the multi-inning appearance in San Diego. I mean, he had an intentional walk. That is the only base runner he's allowed in his last 31 batters faced was an intentional walk to Fernando Tatis Jr. So Trevor McGill has been, seriously, since the 2 blow-up outings that he had early on, I think it was May, he has been maybe the best closer in baseball. Him and Mason Miller have got to be the 2 best since that May mark. Trevor McGill has been unstoppable for the last 3 months. And the Brewers have a legitimate big-time closer once again with Trevor McGill.
Hey, what happened?
All right, let's get to some sound from yesterday. Pat Murphy, after the game, talking to the media.
What do we got? Good questions right off the bat. Somebody start with a good question. Podcast guy, what do you got?
Bullpen picked you up. I know you probably didn't want to take Gasser out.
No, I wanted to take Gasser out.
What's that?
I wanted to take him out because I was kind of hot. It was a little too emotional right there. But, yeah, you can't walk. He had 5 free bases there and got us 11 outs, but he had 5 free bases. And it looks like we're going to have another one, So, yeah, I just pulled the plug and want to win the game. You lose that game, it changes a lot. You know what I mean? And just proud of Patrick and proud of Ashby, proud of McGill to come in there and throw whatever they did, 5 1/3. It was at 6 1/3, 5 1/3. Key right there because you're playing downhill. You have the 6 runs. Everybody's had good at bats. We opened the game with 9 good at bats, and you get 9 solid at bats. All of a sudden, you're rolling, and you think, now I can see what I can do at the end here. And it's hard. And give their pitcher credit. He settled down, changed the way he did things, and then all of a sudden it's 6-4 because we've given up free bases and we're behind in the count. You can't have that. So.
If you're Penn Group, Abner down, these guys have worked a lot with a young starting staff. Just where do you think that group stands as in this point of the season where maybe you might think they're going to wear down a little?
Well, I mean, you can predict whatever, and research will show that relievers are very volatile, and so you can predict that, but it really comes down to these guys understanding that and understanding it's not going to happen to me because I can make pitches. And maybe I'm not 97, maybe I'm 95, maybe I'm 94, but I can throw it over a gnat's ass. You know what I mean? Gnats are pretty small. Whew. If you can do that, you got a chance to help, whether it's 94 or 97. But these games here are sometimes tougher to win. Now, people will say, what are you talking about? 6-0 game is tougher to win? In a lot of ways, when the other team keeps fighting, these guys are trying to – that's a good club. They're 1 game from the World Series last year. 1 game, actually, like a couple outs from the World Series. Who did they lose? I know they picked up Donovan, who's a hell of a player. Who did they lose? Who else have they lost? I don't know. You guys know? Okay. Donovan, Suarez, okay. All right. What do you got? I mean, that's a pretty good, darn good team and pretty good pitching staff, right? Great bullpen, and they picked up a few guys in the pen too. So, look, this is a really good team, and they're fighting for it, and they're hungry, and I'm proud of our guys winning the game today. They found a way.
Obviously, McGill's been an all-star previously, but this stretch that he's on right now, is this as good as you can remember him pitching as well as?
Yeah, I mean, he's throwing the ball well. You know what I mean? He hasn't pitched in 6 days, 7 days, and a couple hard contacts there at the end, but he's filling up the zone. So what can I say? He knows that role, and he's doing a good job. It's not like he's never going to falter, but he's doing what he has to do, and the defense takes care of the rest.
For Garrett's day, going from testing his foot to then having the day, how close to he coming out of the lineup and then deliver the way he did?
He said this morning early, I'm playing, I'm good, and the trainers did a great job of getting him ready, treating him, and came back out and obviously had the day he had, and did it with his feet too. Hustle double. Had some big homer at the end that gave us a little space, changed the momentum of the game a little bit. But he was great. You know, Hammy had a couple big at bats. Churio had some great at bats. Churio had 4 hard contacts. He had 4 good at bats, 3 hard contacts and a walk. You know, Bowers had a good day, but it's, you look at the day Mitchell had and the day Churio had, that's a pretty good offensive day. So, yeah. And like I said, the relief staff, but you can't walk the leadoff hitter. We did that 4 times today. That's not good. So.
I know sometimes it can take time to settle into a game. What would you say about your guys that call the wood effort, right? Just continuing to have to chip away.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they had 9 great at bats to open the game, and then we had other good at bats the next couple innings. We just didn't get the big hit. You know, Ortiz lines out to center field, and then we hit a double right after that. And Terang hits a bullet to left field. We hit a base hit after that. I mean, it's kind of, there's a lot of quality at bats today, but give their starter credit and give their reliever credit, though. The first kid that came in, he was really good. And then they brought in Leverage at the right time. I thought that guy did a great job managing the game for himself. He kept his pitcher in just long enough, and then he brought in Ferrara when he needed to against Bowers, and that was huge. It was huge timing for it, kept it within 2. Do they have an off day tomorrow? No? Oh, okay. But, yeah, I thought they kept him in the game the way he managed the game. And then, our pen was just good enough. Ashby was terrific.
All right, there's part of Pat Murphy yesterday with the media following their 7-4 win over the Seattle Mariners. And you heard him, first question, I believe that was Chuck Freeman asking about, I'm sure you didn't want to take out Robert Gasser, kind of referencing like, yeah, you don't want to take your pitcher out that early. Pat Murphy's like, no, I wanted to take him out. That was emotion-based. Like, I really badly wanted to take him out because Robert Gasser was not very good yesterday. Here is Robert Gasser on his performance.
How much were the walks, a factor for you, just considering how much you've tried to limit the limit that?
Yeah, I mean, leadoff walks always come back to bite you. Made the innings a lot tougher from the get-go, got the pitch count up, and it's just not where you want to be.
What do you attribute that to when you have a day like
that? I feel like it was a little bit of my direction. I was kind of pulling off the ball, not staying through it. Something I've been working hard on and kind of just faulted at it today.
Did you feel like there was a specific pitch that you could go to get yourself back on track today?
Honestly, against righties, I felt decent, especially with the cutter. The cutter's been something I feel like I've been able to go to. Just against the lefties, it was more the sinker that wasn't able to locate, especially early.
Is there anything about pitching with a 6-0 lead that hurt you a little bit more about not being able to get length?
Yeah, I mean, you see 6 go up in the first, you kind of start licking your chops as a starter. You want to go as long as you can, save the bullpen. It's unfortunate I wasn't able to do that today.
You've been out in the bullpen at times. I mean, those guys did the job. They've been doing it lately, even without Abner. And sometimes get overlooked. So what did you think watching the rest of that game?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like not necessarily a slugfest, but it felt like a battle from the second to the fourth on. But, luckily Chad was nails, Aaron and Trevor locked it down.
All right, Robert Gasser again talking about his performance was not good again. 3 2/3, 4 hits, 4 walks, 4 earned on 4 Ks yesterday for Robert Gasser. And a little more to get to here before we take a break.
Hey, what happened?
The Packers play tonight. They are at Denver at 8:00. If you are wanting to watch that preseason game number 2, it is on your local channel, as well as NFL Network. If you are outside the market, you can watch a game on NFL Network tonight. This is the 4th straight year the Packers have been in Denver. Kind of an interesting note, a little bit of a weird note. but fourth year in a row in Denver. There has been, this is from the other day, but there's kind of a secondary piece to this now coming out. Easton Butler reported the other day that the Packers are fielding calls, not them actively looking to trade Carrington Valentine, but teams are calling, and the Packers are picking up the phone on Carrington Valentine. 3 different teams. It's the Bengals, the Steelers, and the Dolphins that have been calling about Carrington Valentine, probably because he seems to be the 4th corner on this team behind Cisse, Nixon, St. Juice, and then Valentine. So a 4th corner. Teams are gauging the interest of the Packers wanting to get rid of Valentine, who might be more of a depth piece this year, but he's on the last year of his rookie deal, owed $3.7 million. So teams are like, all right, last year of his deal, he might not be a big-time player. He might not play a lot of snaps for you. Let's see what the interest is. Doesn't seem like the Packers have a ton of interest in trading him. But I could see a world where he is traded. I guess we'll have to see. Easton Butler then reporting just late last night, about 10 o'clock last night, says that the Packers have been making calls themselves on cornerbacks across the league. According to one of his sources, name that was mentioned was the Steelers' Joey Porter Jr. He is on the last year of his deal. Kool-Aid McKinstry, another name that Goody has called about previously. And then the Broncos cornerback Riley Moss. He's one of the few white cornerbacks in the league. He's the Iowa cornerback who is he has a former first rounder behind him, currently on the Broncos depth chart that I'm sure they'd like to have get into a starting spot. Easton says no trade imminent, but maybe we see some cornerback movement for the Packers, whether that's trading Carrington Valentine and or acquiring someone like Joey Porter Jr. or Kool-Aid McKinstry or Riley Moss, the names that have been mentioned so far by Easton Butler. So we'll see. We'll see. We got a couple of weeks before those rosters need to be set. We'll see if the Brewers end up making a trade, whether sending guys away or taking guys on. But for now, it seems to be that there's some interest there. I would not trade Carrington Valentine away. I think he's too valuable as a backup cornerback. Unless you feel really confident in who you have behind him. The name is Kamal Haddon is who it is. If you're confident in Kamal Haddon being good enough to be a cornerback 4, then okay, then you can trade Carrington Valentine away, especially on the last year of his deal. I'm not sure the Packers would re-sign him to an extension. I guess we'll see. But if you're comfortable with Kamal Haddon, maybe then Carrington Valentine gets traded. But if you'd rather keep that 4th corner for depth, well, then I'm not sure getting a 6th round pick back for Carrington Valentine is worth enough to lose some of that depth. So we will see here in the coming weeks. But Packers and Broncos tonight, 8 o'clock. So they'll go Brewer game for 3 to 6, and then after that, you can eat dinner. And then once you're done with dinner, you can watch the Packers and Broncos, 8 o'clock, your local station, and on NFL Network if you are out of the market. You can watch the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call on the Growth Law video stream on Facebook, X, Twitter, and YouTube as well at WI Sports Radio. Injured growth gets it. Aaron Morse with you here on the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. No Josh Albrecht today. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Baseball coverage on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network is presented by Xfinity. Score the most reliable Wi-Fi, one price, 5 years, guaranteed. Xfinity, imagine that. Welcome back into the Wisconsin Sports Wake-Up Call. No Josh Albrecht today. Aaron Morse with you. Over on the Nicolay Law talk and text line. Annie, I think, is wondering a few things. First of all, I think she's wondering if my words are working properly, if this microphone is working properly. I think she's wondering if her radio is working properly or her Odyssey app or however she's listening. And she's wondering if her ears are working as well. Her question is, did you say that guy's name is Kool-Aid? And yes, I did. His name is Kool-Aid. Not his legal name, but he goes by Kool-Aid. His legal name is JaQuincy. JaQuincy McKinstry. G-A' Quincy is his name. Hey, the reason why he has Kool-Aid, and everyone calls him Kool-Aid and has since birth, is his grandma, when he was born, noted his smile. He had a big smile, apparently, and said he had a Kool-Aid smile. Said it was a Kool-Aid smile like the Kool-Aid man. So basically, since day one, they've called him Kool-Aid McKinstry because his grandma said he's got a smile that looks like the Kool-Aid man in his smile. So his real name, Annie, is JaQuincy, and everyone calls him Kool-Aid. So yes, you heard that right. Kool-Aid could be coming to the Packers. Wouldn't that be a lot of fun? Bob in Minneapolis says, looks like the Packers are seeking a companion to Cisse. He says probably mangled the spelling. Sure, but I get your point. Said a veteran to help guide him would be a good idea. What do you mean, Bob? They've got a veteran. They've got Keyshawn Nixon, cornerback one. They've got cornerback one, Keyshawn Nixon, in the building. He's got a mentor right there for him, Bob. Come on. Don't be silly. Don't you be silly on a Friday. They've got a cornerback in the building to help Brandon Cisse understand what not to do as a cornerback, how to not be cornerback number one. I will say there is a role for Keyshawn Nixon. Like if they're keeping him around, like there's a role. He could be very well be a nice depth piece at cornerback. He's just not a cornerback one. Which necessarily isn't his fault that he had to be thrust into that. Now I think a lot of it falls on Brian Gutekunst for completely ignoring the cornerback room for the last 3 years. I mean, he's hardly done anything until this year to the cornerback room. He's basically said, you know what? Keyshawn Nixon can play cornerback. That's good. And we've taken a bunch of guys in the 6th and 7th rounds, mostly the 7th rounds, or even undrafted. And those guys can fill the void. And that's not the way to handle your cornerback room. You need to draft guys early. You need to sign big money guys, or else you're not going to have very much success in that cornerback room. And the Packers haven't for the past couple of years. So I don't completely blame Keyshawn Nixon, but the attitude of Keyshawn Nixon as cornerback one does not reflect the play. And that's where I think a lot of fans do get upset with Keyshawn Nixon, is the attitude and the bravado, whatever word you want to use to explain how he feels about himself as the number one cornerback. Now, if the Packers have him as the number 3, let's say that Brandon Cisse and Benjamin St-Juste are the top 2 corners. They're the starters. And Keyshawn Nixon's the number 3, and he's moving in and out of the lineup. He's playing some snaps here and there. That's cool. I like it. I think that's a good role for him. He's not that bad at corner. If he's playing a role, a backup role, then he's good to go. If he's cornerback 2, I don't like it as much. I think he probably will be cornerback 2. I don't like it as much, but it's certainly not as bad as him having to cover the number 1 wide receiver on opposing teams. Which, if we just go through the Packers schedule this year and look at the number 1 wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, I don't know who the Buccaneers are going with their number one this year. Let's say Bears, Luther Burden, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson again, Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams, whoever you want to put there, probably Puka. Chris Olave, DJ Moore. Dolphins have an awful wide receiver room, maybe the worst in all of football. So maybe Keyshawn can play cornerback one there. Then back to Luther Burden. And then Nico Collins and Amon-Ra St. Brown again. Number one wide receivers galore. The only teams that really don't have a great wide receiver one on their schedule are the Dolphins, as I mentioned, probably the worst wide receiver room in the sport. And then the other one would be the Panthers, who kind of just have a group of wide receivers. Tet McMillan, I guess, is the number one there. And I guess he's clearly the number one. I don't know if he's a complete number one yet, probably going to be on his way at some point. But that is a really tough group of wide receiver ones that Keyshawn Nixon would have to cover, and I'm not looking for him to do that. So Brandon Cisse can be there. Keyshawn Nixon, your number two most likely. I'd rather him the number three. So maybe you go trade for Joey Porter Jr. or Kool-Aid McKinstry and force Keyshawn Nixon into that number three role and see where that gets you early on in the season. All right, we talked yesterday a little bit about Mark Walter and his struggles. Again, I played a little bit of that guy, Eric Jackson, who is a strategy management PhD from Columbia, talking about Mark Walter. He has 4 options, but one of them is the only way he can go. The other 3 are going to make his situation worse. He has to take roughly $20 billion of loans off of his insurers by the end of the year. His insurers are himself. He has used his own companies to insure himself. So somehow he has to create this money, and that is why he sold the Lakers the other day, is because that's $12+ billion that he can refunnel back through, but it's not nearly enough money. So he's got to figure out how to get this money, and the only way is to really sell things off. Well, the Dodgers could be one of those, I guess. But if he sells the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani has something in his contract that says if Mark Walter's gone or Andrew Friedman, their GM, is gone, then Shohei Ohtani can opt out of his contract. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen, but Shohei could do it. And the prevailing thought is, well, Mark Walter knew this day was coming, and that is why he continued to just put money on the books and continued to defer money, because he knew it wasn't going to be him that was going to eventually have to pay up for that. It was going to be whoever he sold the team to. But now, who's going to buy the team if they're going to be so far in debt and having to pay all these deferments? Someone's going to have to really want the team and going to have a really big load of money in their wallet. For instance, Shohei Ohtani doesn't get paid until 2034. For 10 years, they owe him $680 million. $68 million a year you're going to have to pay him to not play. Will Smith, same time frame, $50 million. Freddie Freeman, 2028 to 2040, $57 million. Blake Snell, don't know how long the years are, but 65 deferred. Mookie Betts, 33 to 44. So 2 years longer than Will Smith and Shohei to pay $115. Justin Turner's money comes off the books this year, 2030 to 2039, $8.5 million for Teoscar Hernandez, so about $1 million a year, a little less. And then Tommy Edman from 35 to 44, 10 years, $25 million. That is $1.006 billion in deferments that are going to have to be paid here coming up starting about 2033, about 2033, 2030 is when most of those are getting started. That's a lot of money that you're going to have to come up with to pay guys that aren't playing for you. They need to find a way to offload these contracts at some point, or else they're going to get in big, big trouble in terms of we just can't sign anybody. We can't add anybody else to our team, which is good news for everybody else, unless the Dodgers just decide to keep spending money at an insane pace. here is a note on Mark Walter from Joe Pompliano. He is a sports and business writer. If you haven't heard, Mark Walter is also trying to get some money from the TV deal that the Dodgers have. John Orend, a sports correspondent, says this. Mark Walter engaged Charter Communications to see whether the company wanted to exit its local TV deals for the Lakers and Dodgers several years early in exchange for a lump sum payment. But the TV deal, obviously, the Charter Communications did not want to do that. The talks went nowhere. Say the Dodgers currently have one of the best local TV deals in sports. 25 years, $8.3 billion for an average of $334 million annually. That is nearly triple what the Brewers spend on their payroll. Is triple the Dodgers TV deal alone. Walter was willing to exit the deal early to get more cash up front. So let's say, for instance, $8.3 billion. What would Mark Walter's deal be? Instead of getting that over the next 25 years, he was saying that the TV deals can get out and spend, let's say, half of that. Maybe they only want to spend $4 to $4.5 billion. That would help Mark Walter get closer to that $20 million mark that he needs to get to. Wisconsin Sports Fanatic on the Growth Law video stream saying salary almost equals the whole Brewers payroll. Yes, no, it does. It equals the entire Brewers payroll. It's insane. It's insane the amount of money that the Dodgers are currently deferring. So $334 million annually, $8.35 billion is the TV deal over 25 years. That's $334 million a year. That is an insane amount. But Mark Walter wants it up front, and then the TV deals can get out and not spending the full 8.35 in order to help pay off those debts a little more. While the TV deals are like, no, why would we do that? That deal is great for us right now, and we want to continue doing it. One more note, Nick Nemeth, he talks about the markets, stocks, economy, crypto. He's a finance guy. Says that the Dodgers carrying unlimited payroll, filings uncovered show roughly $1.5 billion in debt for American Media Productions, which is the entity behind Sportsnet LA, which is the TV deal. That's the group that has Dodgers baseball. And the Dodgers in their deal with Charter sitting on the balance sheets of 5 life insurance companies tied to or controlled by the Dodgers' own ownership group. Again, that's Mark Walter's insurance companies. 5 balance sheets of 5 life insurance companies. So the Dodgers are getting a sweetheart deal on their TV rights from a media company their owners own, financed by insurance companies those same owners control. Because ownership sits on both sides as borrower and lender, the setup functions as a closed loop. So these turbulence hits with this money here, banks enforce covenants, enforce restructuring, MLB taxes net local revenue, 34%, but allow deductions for debt. So basically, LA has built a seemingly illegal structure that captures its own interest yield, shelters TV income from league revenue so they don't have to pay those taxes, and it helps fund the payroll dominance. So in essence, the Dodgers found this loophole that is allowing them to get out of paying taxes that will allow them then to fund their deferment payments to all of these high-priced players. And it's a closed loop, and the Dodgers are finessing the league right now, essentially. We'll see if it comes back to bite them. We'll see. That's a lot of finance talk. I don't necessarily fully understand it all, but what I hear is the Dodgers are borderline, they're towing the line. They are towing the line as much as they can and trying to get away with it. All right, we need to take a break here on the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. Coming up is the most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by Best Electric. We will get to that when we come back. It's the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. Aaron Morrison solo today from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
It's time for
The most electrifying,
Sound of the Day,
the most electrifying.
brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
And that one's in the air to center field pretty deep. Rodriguez going back. He's at the wall. And she is gone. Garrett Mitchell backspins one off the batter's eye. That could have been the backbreaker right there. Boy, Garrett Mitchell, lefty versus lefty, knocks one out of here.
The insurance run homer from Garrett Mitchell, just the second lefty homer in his career, is the most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress, connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. Mentioned the stat earlier in the show during Hey, What Happened? Garrett Mitchell coming into this Seattle series was 8 for his last 74 at the plate. That's a 108 batting average. He played in 2 games in the Seattle series, went 7 for 10, 2 doubles, a homer, 4 runs, and 3 RBIs. Now that brings his average in his last 84 to just 200, but a lot better than 108, and he nearly doubled his hit total. He had 7 hits in the last 2 games. He had 8 in his previous 74 at-bats. So hopefully Garrett Mitchell, this is a sign of him getting back to where he was middle part of the season. We will have to see on that. But they need Garrett Mitchell to get going if they're going to continue to keep this lead, this 1 seed, and into the postseason, trying to get back the NLCS in a World Series for the first time since '82. Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call continues when we come back, followed by the Steve Zabin Show. Brandon Snide will be here when we return. He'll join me for both shows here on the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Good morning. This is your wake up call.
It's time to wake up, Wisconsin.
Wake me up!
All right, rise and shine, Sleeping Beauty. Come on, hop, hop, hop.
This is the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Wake up, Daddy's home.
Here's your host, Josh Albrecht.
And he pulls that one down the line. It is a fair ball into the corner. Terang is in. Bowers around third. He will score. El Gary drives it a pair. Brewers since the 4th of July. Look at this guy. Joey O playing a little pepper. Drives in Sanchez. Yelich to third. Mitchell, a big bouncer over the head of Naylor. This is going to bring in 2 more. Mitchell on his way to second. It's a 2 RBI double. And base hit to right. Mitchell will score. Hamilton racing to second base. The throw comes in late. It skips away, and it's an RBI double for David Hamilton. And that one's in the air to center field pretty deep. Rodriguez going back. He's at the wall, and she is gone. Garrett Mitchell backspins one off the batter's eye.
Welcome into the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call on a Friday morning. Hour number 2. No Josh Albrecht, Aaron Morse, and joining me right now, Brandon Snide for the second hour. And then we'll do the Steve Zabin show together because no Steve or Josh for that show as well today. Brandon, how's it going?
Good morning. It's going good. It's Friday. The Packers play today.
Mm-hmm.
The Brewers are on at 3:00, Aaron.
We get to watch both.
Like the schedule makers smiled at us this weekend. So it is. I told my wife, because obviously I do some Brewers post games on the side. I said it. She's like, "What's your schedule like this weekend?" I go, "It's very weird. It's very strange." I said, "I have 2 day games on Friday and Saturday." I said, "Then Sunday they play at night." And she goes, "That's usually the other way around." I'm like, "Yes, it is strange." And they're at a home, but they'll be in Williamsport.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, you lost me. So
yeah, so the Little League World Series going on right now, for those who don't know. And the Brewers were picked to be in the Little League World Series MLB game that they've done for several years now. It's the Braves and Brewers. So they'll play today at 3:10. That'll allow them to play a day game tomorrow at 1:10 so that they can get out of Milwaukee, travel to Pennsylvania, and then get ready for a night game on Sunday. Then they'll have a day off Monday because they've been traveling back and forth, just a short little trip over to New York to take on the Mets, and then back home for 3 more at home before they're back on the run. It's a weird stretch of games for the Brewers, and the reason why they've got the day games is because they got to travel a lot.
Which I don't hate. What I hate, Aaron, if I could, go on a little bit of a rant here. Why are we doing a preseason game at 8:00 at night? Thankfully, it's Friday night. Why is there a preseason game starting at 8 p.m.?
I'm going to guess.
I know it's in Denver, which is an hour behind. I used to live in Denver. But come on, man. I also have the Packers post-game show that I have to do tonight as well. So you're talking about a preseason game for me, Aaron, a personal rant here, that I won't be able to do a post-game show till probably midnight-ish, give or take.
Yeah, I would say you could probably start at about 11:30.
It's just annoying.
Yeah, because, I was going to say it might be because NFL Network is carrying the game, so they would want their other game to be done. But their other game is the Jets and the Steelers. That starts at 6. So it's not going to get done before Packers Broncos. So I'm not entirely sure why it's 8 o'clock. I mean, I know why. It's 7 o'clock start in Denver, and they want it to be a 7 o'clock. Just make it a 6 o'clock start in Denver.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I looked at the schedule and I'm like, okay, is my computer in the right time zone? Because 8 o'clock seems late for a preseason game. I mean, thankfully it's a Friday night, so like I could sleep in on Saturday, but it's a weird weekend, man. Like as far as games and times go. And yesterday, I know you kind of talked a lot about it in the first hour. Like yesterday, for my team to go up 6-0 in the first inning, that was a very frustrating and annoying game yesterday for the Brewers. I
thought they were, it was feeling like they were going to blow it. I mean, just the offense went silent, completely silent. George Kirby locked in, and the pitchers, I should say pitcher, Robert Gasser with his 6-run lead should be able to throw just pitches down the middle of the plate. And the only way that they're going to come back from that at the time, in the moment, was if you're letting them back into it, if you're walking guys. And that's what he did. Didn't even collect 4 innings, didn't collect 12 outs, and had 4 hits, 4 walks, 4 runs, 4 strikeouts.
He had a wild pitch or a cross up with Sanchez. I don't know if that was whose fault that was. And
Sanchez probably just got to catch the ball. That's what I'm going to say. I think Sanchez just needs to catch the ball. But Chad Patrick and Aaron Ashby were fantastic out of the bullpen. 4 1/3 scoreless, 8 Ks combined. They each allowed 2 base runners, 2 hits for Patrick, 2 walks for Ashby. I was talking about Trevor McGill in the first hour. He has been incredible this year. I mean, very, very quietly, one of the best closers in baseball. I said probably since his 2 blow-up games, it was back-to-back early on in the season. Since then, it's probably been like him and Mason Miller as the best closers in baseball. Yeah. Maybe like a Louis Varland could sneak his way into that conversation. But, man, he has been good. I just did the math. I did the calculating. I know you can't do this, so don't get on me here. But if you just took those 2 outings out, if you said those 2 random blow-up games where something obviously was wrong, he gave up 4 runs in an inning and 3 runs in 0 innings. If you take those out, his ERA right now would be 1.13. It's about 2.3 right now. He'd lose a complete. He would go from 13 earned runs to 6 earned runs in 48 innings all year long.
Yeah, he's that's the thing too. Like, and this is the thing too. It goes into the equation, I think, Aaron, for me as a Brewer fan, why I feel optimistic and why I feel like I know everybody at the trade deadline was like, you got to go get this person, you got to go get that person. We need this, we need that. And I didn't really disagree, but I didn't see anything in the trade market that would give me, reason to think that the Brewers should go absolutely all in. I was against it. I said it on 9 to noon for the weeks leading up to it. I was against going out and trading multiple prospects, including what sounded like to be Logan Henderson for Tarek Skubal. And I know that was the move that everybody in Major League Baseball and the national media wanted the Brewers to do. And somehow they're getting blamed for ruining baseball, even though the offer on the table was supposedly a little bit better than Minnesota, or than
I would say more than a little
than the
better,
Dodgers.
yeah,
correct. So like, I guess it depends on how you look at it. But the reason I am so optimistic, and I'm curious if Brewers fans are optimistic, Aaron, and I'm curious if you're optimistic or what it is you need to see yet. Because when I look at this team, I cannot circle. I'm looking at their schedule right now. I cannot circle a 10-day stretch, right? A 7 to 10-day stretch where this team was clicking on all cylinders, right? They got a couple 3-game win streaks. They got a couple 4-game win streaks. They lost a couple, it was a 6-game losing streak at the beginning of the year in the first, couple of weeks. Obviously that wasn't great, but they found a way to get out of it. But I look at this team, I'm like, okay, they didn't do what they did last year. They didn't have an 8-game. They didn't have an 11-game. They didn't have a 14-game win streak. They've strung together series wins after series wins, especially at American Family Field, 7 in a row now. They've won at American Family Field. But the reason I'm optimistic, and I want to know if you need to see something else, Aaron, the reason I'm not optimistic with this team is because I don't think we've seen their best baseball yet. Pat Murphy has talked about it. I think he just recently talked about it. It may have been after the first game of the series against Seattle. It was very recently that they just haven't played their best baseball yet. Like, their offense hasn't matched their starting rotation. Their starting rotation hasn't, as always, matched their offense. Yesterday was a perfect example of that. Their bullpen has been really good as of late. But remember, like you just mentioned, Trevor McGill in the beginning of the year, he lost his closer role. At one point was taken out of that closer role. Abner Uribe struggled at times at the beginning of the year. You can't circle a time on the schedule right now, a moment on the schedule right now, where this team just looked like, okay, that is the best team in baseball. Now they've had moments, right? You win 22-0. You sweep the Cubs at Wrigley Field when the Cubs were really hot in May. But that's, as a Brewer fan, Aaron, that's what gives me optimism going forward. Because if this team can align those stars, right? If the offense is what we've seen this week and the starting pitching, which we've seen spurts of, I think the starting pitching has been the most consistent, really, out of the 3 phases of those things, between the offense, the pitching, and the bullpen. The defense is usually pretty good too. But the starting pitching can match the offense, and the bullpen can match the starting pitching. There's not a team. I know the Dodgers, and I know they're struggling a little bit. I know they're star-studded. I get it. I know everybody's worried about the Cubs. I know PCA is great. I know the Braves were coming into town. Chris Sale tonight versus Miz. We'll get a good look at them. There's not a team that this Brewers team, first off, they don't really need to be clicking on all cylinders because they've proven they can beat the Dodgers before they get swept by the Padres. But there's not a team in Major League Baseball right now that scares me as a Brewers fan. I think they can beat any team at any given moment. Obviously, timing is important, but in this last 35-ish games, Aaron, what do you need to see to give you more confidence going into October? I'm curious what fans, what listeners of the Wisconsin Wake Up Call are what they need to see going forward, because I fear, Aaron, that no matter what this team does for the next 35 days, let's say they win every game 12-0, there will be a certain section of the fan base that says, well, show me you can do it in October. So I don't know if there's anything
if they
can
won
do.
12-0 the rest of the year, I would just say that they're winning the World Series. I'd either say they're winning the World Series.
You would say that.
Or I would counter that and go devil's advocate and say they're in trouble because they've just won 35 straight games 12-0, and that's not going to continue in the post. Yeah.
But is there something like
I would say the thing that I need to see in this last month plus of the season is just consistency. I can't see Garrett Mitchell going 8 for 74 on a stretch. He went 7 for 10 this year. He's nearly doubled his hit total in his previous 74 at bats.
Dude is an absolute stud. Man.
I know, he's so good. He's my favorite player on the Brewers. If he could just figure out a consistency, he is going to be extremely good. He'll probably make an all-star game.
Do you think he's the most talented?
Yes. He is the most talented player on this team.
Yeah,
I think it's not even a question.
I think
he is the most. He's a 6'4", 200 plus center fielder with extreme speed, power, and the ability to just smoke the baseball.
Yeah, he's a 5-tool player.
Yeah, he is. If he can just do it consistently, I need Christian Yelich to just get some results here consistently. He's hitting the ball hard. He hit another double play yesterday where he smoked it like 200 miles per hour off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
William Contreras.
Right at
Jackson,
the guy.
Yeah, right at the guy. Jackson Churro. These guys all have to do this consistently. They've all had stretches this year where they've took turns playing well and then being poor at the plate, right? Like you need these guys I don't need them all hitting 300. I need them all hitting 260 at the same time. If they all hit 260, even every single player hit 260 from now to the end of the regular season, they are going to reach 100 wins. Like it would be so simple for them if everyone just hit 250 to 260. So if everyone did that, I'd be like, all right, let's go. It's time. Because right now the offense is the question where it's like, all right, sometimes you show up, sometimes you don't. And I'm a little curious how that's going to work in a postseason where you're not facing Joe Blow every 5 games.
Well, tonight will be a good test, right?
That's
this
true.
Will be a good test against Chris Sale.
They struggled the first time against him.
Yeah, they what was that, back in June? So It will be a good test for this offense. And really, I mean, you go back to, I know they lost one of those games Friday against LA last week, but you go back to that Thursday game against the Dodgers where they came back. Like their offense has been sort of consistent since then. That's a very short sample size.
I was going to say, I was trying to look for a stretch of games that it's
got to be right now, right?
I was going to say right now, starting with the Dodger series, if this can continue through Atlanta and even the Mets, I would say that would be your 10-game stretch where they are playing really well because they win 3 out of 4 to the Dodgers. The loss is 3-1. Then they win 22-0.
And they had the bases loaded against Diaz.
Yeah.
They were close.
Yes, right. You win 22-0, then you lose 7-5, and all the runs you give up are in the first 2 innings. So kind of a fluke 2 innings for Dustin May, and then you win yesterday. This could be the streak if they continue it through this weekend and maybe early next week that you were wondering about.
Yeah, and I think I go back to, let's look here, early May. They remember that game in St. Louis that got rained out. That final game they won. Then they swept the Yankees. Then they beat San Diego 2 out of 3. That was a good stretch, and beat Minnesota 2 out of 3. That was a really good stretch. Actually, okay, so I found the stretch. We're going to do some counting live on air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
Louis
12,
through the Cubs
13.
sweep?
They won 12 out of 14 between May 6th and May 22nd
Yeah.
against they played I mean, the Cubs at the time were
Cardinals, Yankees, Padres, Twins, Cubs, and Dodgers.
And that was a sweep at Wrigley.
Yeah.
Which was
that's
huge.
the stretch.
Yeah.
That's the stretch.
So that's a long, but that's what I mean. Like, you got to go, like, that is, and in that moment, right? In that moment that we're circling, Trevor McGill was shaky.
Well, and even after that 2-game losing to the Dodgers, they swept the Cardinals 2 out of 3 from Houston, and then they won 2 straight. That was their stretch right there, where they were playing their best baseball. If they can do that again, I'm good.
And that's the question that I would love to hear from, the listeners on the Nicolay Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250. What do you need to see from this baseball team in 35 games left of the season? I think that's off the top of my head. I think it's 35, roughly 35, give or take 1 or 2. What do you need to see from this Brewers team going forward? Now, yesterday was about the best start I think I've seen all year. And it was the biggest first inning of the season for the Brewers. They had 5 hits, Aaron, in a row with runners in scoring position. And then they finished the game 5 for 13, which means they didn't have a hit the rest of the game with runners in scoring position. That was the annoying part, is because Kirby, you mentioned him settling down. He did, but they allowed him to, but they still had guys on base. And you mentioned Christian Yelich, first and second, scorches a ball 506 miles an hour off the bat. It just happens to be right at first. I don't want to sidetrack. If we're going to ban the shift, can we ban the shift? Is that not like, anyway, I'll digress. He's playing behind second base.
You want the triangle to be a little larger.
I want it to be a little bit bigger. If we're going to do it, like, let's actually ban it.
You want the V to start on the cutout of the grass, not like on the base.
Correct.
Like right now it's the size of like this.
Yeah, no, I
you
want
it to be like this.
Yeah. Well, if we're going to ban it. Like, and again, we're nitpicking here, but that's a RBI single from Yelich, and his day looks a little bit different yesterday as well. He's just been hitting into some bad luck, man. I mean, he's been barreling the ball up like for the last, I know fans are at their end with him. He's been barreling the baseball up now. I go back really since the start of August. He's been one of the best. It's just he's been hitting in some bad luck. But nonetheless, I'll digress. Is it Christian Yelich? Who's the 5th starter? Like, are you concerned about number 5? It doesn't sound like it's going to be Shane Drowan. He does get to start Sunday. Does sound like he is going to get pushed to the bullpen, according to Pat Murphy.
Which is cool with me.
Is it Robert Gasser? Aaron, when you get pulled in the middle of that bat, we know what happens. I don't know.
Garrett Stallings on his way back.
Do you need to see a number 5 starter to? I mean, it's not. I don't know if it plays into October equation for you or not, but I'm just curious what fans need to see going forward to give them confidence going into the postseason.
We got messages coming in on the Nicolay Fan Talking text line. We'll get to them next here on the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. Aaron Morse here, Brandon Snide joining me in the 7 o'clock hours. We'll have the Steve Zabin Show coming up as well at 8 o'clock. Right here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, proudly outfitted by Burkhart Sporting Goods, our official apparel partner. Outfit your team or company with custom apparel today at BSG1881.com. I've got my Burkhart Sporting Goods hat on, and Brandon has his Burkhart Sporting Goods quarter zip on. His
most
Brooks
comfortable.
Brothers quarter zip.
I would sleep in this.
You look good.
It's so comfortable.
Looks good. Yeah.
This is the quarter zip that Josh said I won the apparel.
Oh, yeah. You won the apparel lottery.
Yeah.
Because it's not like we could go and they didn't have like a little mini store for us to go and like feel stuff. Or, we were just kind of gauging off a website, and they gave us this website, and we're like, all right, this looks good. That looked good. You got to just guess based on what the description is and what the material
this is so nice. It is a Brooks Brothers. Obviously it's a quarter zip, so you can wear it obviously in fall or winter or whatever, but you can wear it now because it's like got this cooling material. So it's not overly hot, if you're wearing it indoors, if the heat is on or something like that.
Well, you can also wear it in here because usually our studio is like 55 degrees, which fine with me. I'd rather be cold than hot. But it does get pretty cold.
John asked me, John used to get on me. He'd be like, why are you always wearing a hoodie? And I'm like, dude, it is literally like 60 degrees.
You could walk outside and you'd be like, wow, it feels really good. It feels like 95 degrees. You're like, wow, it kind of feels nice.
Although I was in the kitchen this morning, I was getting coffee ready. The heat is on in the kitchen. I can, you can smell the heat going and I can feel it. So I think we might have an early fall. I rode my motorcycle in here yesterday, Aaron, and it took me a little bit to warm up. It was 58 degrees riding in.
I say every time I get in my car in the morning right now for the last couple of weeks, my windows are just, it's just I can't even see out any of my windows when I first get in my car in the morning.
I know we're going to get back into the Brewers talk, and we have a lot of reaction.
No, we're talking weather here in the.
Let me get your 4 seasons. Rank the 4 seasons. Let me see if you and I are. Oh, thank goodness.
Rami's so dumb.
Okay.
Rami's so dumb.
He's also a Cubs fan and a Bears fan. You're right. But yeah, okay. So you're
summer, spring, fall, winter.
Okay. So you and I are almost identical. I like the idea of spring, Aaron. In Wisconsin, it never is really spring. Like we get a day or two here or there where it's like, oh man, it's 55 degrees. It feels really good. It's not consistent enough. So I like fall in Wisconsin as opposed to spring in Wisconsin, because I feel like the fall in Wisconsin is a little bit warmer than what spring is, even though it shouldn't be. But
yeah, I can be okay with fall. But the reason why I'll go with fall, second or spring over fall, is because fall means winter's coming.
It's true. It's kind of where I'm at with it. I know,
and
but I like Halloween.
Summer's coming.
I like Halloween. It's one of the more underrated holiday, only for me, Aaron, selfishly, because it doesn't include having to have a gift. And we have 5 kids now. So, half of them.
You got to have the candy.
Half of them are too cool to,
you gotta have the
dress
candy
up.
To pass out. And
we don't, because we roam the neighborhood.
You don't do that. Take one piece.
We do, but like 18. It probably doesn't last. Yeah, more than like 5 trick-or-treaters. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't know how anybody doesn't like. I get sad. We'll talk about Packers later on in the Steve Zabin show. I have a love and hate for when Packers football starts back up, because I love the idea of football. But I'm like, man, school's around the corner for the kids. Summer's over.
It means it's go time. No days off, and you're working. It feels like you're working overtime during football season.
It really does. And this year, and again, we're talking about schedules to begin the 7:00 hour. That is maybe the most wacky NFL Packer schedule I've ever seen in my life. Like every day besides Tuesday.
Yeah, it's not great for the fans, especially because when you get all those different days, it means that they're all on different stations or streaming sites.
Right.
CBS, Fox, Prime, Fox, NBC, Fox Prime, Fox, Netflix, Fox, NBC, Fox, Netflix, ESPN, and then TBD. Are you kidding me?
And it's the day before Thanksgiving, which I prefer over the actual holiday. So I'm happy for that. But then Christmas, like you play the Bears.
You have no set times, no set days, no set station.
It is.
Yeah. It's all over the place.
It is wacky. But back to the topic at hand. I didn't want to derail this too much, but from the 920, winter 1, fall 2, summer 3, spring.
Is that Rami's phone number?
4. No.
I know. That's
I don't
Rami.
understand the appeal with winter. I don't understand the appeal to winter.
I think people just say they like winter, and then winter comes and they're very silent about how much they like previously said they like winter. Everyone's like, oh, but the snow on the trees.
Yeah, it looks horrible when you're trying to get out of your driveway at 5 a.m.
Yeah, and then when you have to shovel your driveway or walkway, and you have to, defrost your car for 20 minutes before you leave for work, so you have to wake up earlier, and then you have to wear 3 bundles of clothes. Yeah, when that time comes, I feel like the people who say winter's the best all are very quiet about how great winter apparently is.
In a perfect world, winter would end, Aaron, on like January 2nd.
I was going to say winter would start December 1st and then end like January 31st.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take 2 more. Yeah, I think that's a good start. Yep. Give me the actual fall.
February starts the spring.
Yep. We can thaw out February,
Yep.
March, April. It's, up to the sick man. It would be we would be great, if we could rule the weather world,
Yes.
but here we are.
Yeah, you get spring from February through April, summer, May through September, fall, October, November, and then
Hey, you're getting some more text on the winter. This is from the 414.
Winter's awesome. What?
So much to do. Ice fishing, snowmobiling, skiing. Yeah, but I can do that in the summer too. Like, okay, fishing. I can fish on a lake that is not frozen. Snowmobiling, if you have a motorcycle or you have an ATV or a dirt bike. Skiing, I would much rather ski in swim trunks on a lake when it's 90 degrees and I'm, having a cold beverage to follow, so I'm not there. And I used to love winter. I used to really like it, but now I absolutely despise it. I get depressed. Seasonal depression on its way, and hopefully the Packers.
I don't get the ice fishing thing too. There's a lot of people saying that they've got the ice ready for ice fishing. You get to go in 0-degree weather.
Aaron, we are getting more texts. We are getting
sit there, and you just sit there in our cold for 8 hours,
and you can't see anything.
You can't see anything because you're in a shack, and then you just dig a hole into the ice, and you just put your pole in the water and just hope it gets a bite, and you just sit there.
Well, we found the texters. They are interested in the weather. There are some that are interested in the Brewers. I'll let you take the direction you want to go.
We can go winter a little bit.
There are some.
920. I hate 80 and humid. Winter better than that. I hunt and fish. I like to be outside. I don't. If you like to be outside, why do you? I don't understand wanting to be outside in snow. It makes everything that much more complicated.
Toes are cold. Fingers are cold. Nose is runny.
Cold toes just suck.
Yeah, because there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. The 262 says, "Oh, winter is absolutely trash." Yes, that's very much agreeable. And then 414 says, "Winter, no bugs." Great point.
I'll give him that.
Great point, but I don't care.
but I don't. I'm going to share a little bit of my personal life with you here, Aaron. There are no bugs. However, I am petrified. I have a phobia, a real phobia of mice.
Oh.
So you get the critters in the house because
I don't like mice either.
They're trying to escape the cold.
I don't know if I have quite a phobia, but yeah, when I see them, no thanks.
No, I will. I'm
gross.
Petrified. I would rather jump out of an airplane 10,000 feet in the air than be in a room with a mouse. And I've done both. So
yeah, that's that's mice no good. Fall is the best, says a 262. Cool bow hunting, football, less bigs.
I think he meant bugs probably.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the football part is part of it.
I also don't hunt, and I don't care to, and I don't fish, and I don't care to. Like both of those things are extremely boring to me.
I fish in the summer. I've never done ice fishing. And full disclosure I think I'm trying to find it. Somebody texted in and said, "Tell me you've been ice." Oh, from the 414. Tell me you've never been ice fishing without telling me. I've never done ice fishing.
I've been ice fishing. It's not. I've never gone again. Why would I want to do that?
But I would still much rather do it on a lake in the summer when the sun's rolling up and it's 75 degrees and the water looks like a glass case. I would much rather be fishing in the summer.
Yes. When you're ice fishing, you don't have to worry about the stupid flatlander flying by you on a stupid ski boat. They also make heaters for ice shanties nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make heaters for hunting too. And when I see pictures of people hunting. They look like the most miserable people on planet Earth because they're freezing cold at 3 a.m.
And they're just sitting there, hoping to see something.
My dad loves fishing. My dad's a huge fisher, and I've got most of my friends are big hunters, but I don't do any of that.
This is a good question here from the 414 for you, Aaron. Which is more sad in reference to the weather and anticipation of winter coming? The end of baseball season or beginning of football season?
Which is sadder?
Which is more sad? I'm
I
guessing
would
they
say baseball ending. I don't, football beginning is
but
sad.
You could also make the argument the baseball season's just starting.
You could make that argument.
Like
you could.
Good stuff.
I don't get it. Football season's not a sad thing.
I mean, I think if I had to go into the brain of the 414, because the Packers have just been sad to watch at certain times.
Maybe
of the
unless they're
postseason.
saying football season means winter's coming and cold weather and more difficult schedule or more.
I think
busy
the
schedule.
end of baseball. I think, man, it's tough because this year might be a little bit different because we don't know if there will be baseball next year. So the end of this baseball season, we're all going to be sitting on our couch and hopefully celebrating a Brewers World Series. But we're also going to be wondering, man, I hope they play next year because that CBA is.
If they don't, we're gonna have some boring weeks in June, May.
Yeah, the NFL
boring weeks in July in July for sure, because the NFL did not take over July this year. The NFL was very quiet this summer, and if that's not there, baseball's not there. The NBA and the NHL are done in June, and I can tell you I'm not watching the WNBA.
No.
So we're not going to have anything to watch if we got a lockout next year through June.
Rami is convinced, we've talked about this on 9 to noon, he's convinced that they're not going to miss any games. I'm on the other end of that spectrum. I don't know where you lie, but I think it's going to be a nasty lock. I hope I'm wrong. I said this. I hope I'm incorrect with it.
Well,
it just sounds like they're worlds apart from agreeing to or coming close to any
I'm
sort of
not
agreement.
sure where they're going to land, but what I do know is there will be a lockout. It just depends on what the length of it is. Like it is 100% guaranteed that we are getting a lockout. And I think they're too far away for that lockout to not affect the season in some capacity, whether that's a later start or spring training is shortened or we lose 20 regular season games and it's a 142 instead. I don't know how that's going to all work itself out, but I think we're going to lose some portion of the season, and the portion of the season begins in spring training.
Yeah, and you would assume a later start to the season, doesn't bode well for the ramp up period for
Would
these
you rather
players.
have another 60 game season or just get rid of the whole season combined?
Let me
like another COVID year type.
I'll answer your question, and then I'm going to rehash a question out for you. I would just rather get rid of the season than do 60 games. Let me spin it back to you, as this has been a fun segment. We are just all over the place, and it has been a blast. Would you, Aaron Morse, give up an entire season of Major League Baseball if it meant a salary cap was implemented and a salary floor were implemented?
Yeah.
I answered the same way, and I was, like I usually am, the outcast of 9 to noon.
I'm very willing to give up a season of baseball if it means making the sport infinitely better. And that would be a salary cap and a salary floor.
Right.
It would force teams to spend more money.
Be
and
smart.
would force teams like the Dodgers to stop deferring billions of dollars in contracts. And it would force them to stop circumventing the money that happens in baseball. I don't know if you heard me talking about it earlier, but the Dodgers are avoiding taxes, MLB taxes on their income, while insuring themselves and creating a closed loop where they're basically just making themselves money through sweetheart deals. It's like, okay, that should not be allowed.
Or their TV deal.
Yeah, I'm willing to give up a season of baseball if it means that the system becomes a more fair product. Listen,
and that's what I told him.
If that's controversial, fine. But and I'm a huge baseball fan. It's probably my favorite sport to watch and to follow. But I'm willing to give it up if it means the betterment of the sport.
Well, and that was my argument too, is essentially what you're saying. But I'm like, is baseball too good? That I mean, the NFL has a salary cap. Look how great it's worked out for the NFL. Not only has it, look at where the salary cap started from the NFL and look where it's currently at. Like, it has grown every single year.
I don't need a small cap either. Like, the cap can be $350 million.
Correct.
Like, if that's the cap, fine.
Right.
I'm not looking for teams to be spending $600 million with $1 billion deferred. Give me a $350 million cap. Can't go higher than that. And then the floor is like 150 to 175 million, somewhere in that range.
I think I saw somebody present one at like 275.
Yeah, that's too low. Jesse Rogers of ESPN, I think, reported.
Was that it? Yeah, and like 140
it's too low of a cap number. The players would never go for it. You have to give them some money in.
Well, like, then this is the problem.
That small.
How do you grandfather these contracts in?
You
like,
have to.
It's going to be. That's what's going to take a while. I
hope
they don't miss
the Dodgers
baseball.
can't sign another Kyle Tucker or Edwin Diaz. Like, they can't keep signing guys, but they do get to be over the cap until whatever that day comes that they're no longer. So they just can't sign more guys, which is their choice if they want to do that. But otherwise, if they want to sign guys, they have to get rid of contracts.
Well, and that's the argument I made to Rami and John. I said, like, if the Brewers did what the Dodgers did and they gave Kyle Tucker that money, they would be screwed. Like, you couldn't get that
Kyle
production.
Tucker was playing the way he was playing.
Oh my
if
goodness!
the Brewers had the Dodgers offseason, they would be absolutely screwed right now.
I mean, people are complaining about Yelich.
It would set him back for 5+ years.
Christian Yelich's contract is a bargain these days.
It would set him back so far if they had to sign Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz to those same contracts. All right, we're late for a break.
That was fun.
It was fun.
That was like a potpourri of random topics off the top of our head.
We will get back to the Nicolay Law Talking text line, 414-677-1250. When we come back, we'll wrap up the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call. It's Aaron Morris and Brandon Snide leading you into the Steve Zabin Show with ourselves again. When we come back, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Mamma mia, mamma mia. Mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has a devil put aside for me, for me, for me.
Want to score free Wendy's Frosty Classics this summer when the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, proud high A affiliate of the Milwaukee Brewers, records 10 strikeouts in a game? You can go to any Wisconsin Wendy's, get a free small Frosty Classic. Follow the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers on X or Instagram as they post after every game with 10 strikeouts. This offer is good for 24 hours following the game. Hey, it's the Wisconsin Sports Wake-Up Call here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Aaron Morris, Brandon Snide today, wrapping up the Wisconsin Sports Wake-Up Call, leading you into the Steve Zabin Show with Josh Albrecht with Aaron Morris and Brandon Snide naturally. Just naturally, that's how it's been going here as of late. Moving over to the talk and text line here quickly. 920 says, I was in high school the last baseball strike. I think I ended up drinking a lot more without baseball.
In high school? Eesh.
Hey, the statute of limitations.
I was going
right?
to say, I mean, we all did.
It's 608. Something I disagree with here. If the Brewers win the World Series this year, no games will be lost next year. If the Dodgers win, there won't be a season, plain and simple.
I've seen that argument before.
I think if the Brewers or Rays win the World Series, we're still going to get a lockout, and we're still going to be on the verge of, like, I don't think it's very cut and dry. Like, oh, if the Brewers or Rays win the World Series, games will be played, games won't be missed. I don't think it's that simple.
Owners are on record saying they don't want to give out these contracts anymore, and they're only going up. Like, they're going up and up and up. Kyle Tucker is getting paid $60 million. Aaron, you and I could put up better numbers defensively and offensively right now than Kyle Tucker. Like, the owners don't want to give out these massive contracts. Now they have to, because you've got to keep up with the Joneses, and that's just what, you know, the running rate is for a lot of these players. But if the owners are telling you we're good on these contracts are just getting out of hand, like, it has nothing to do with who wins or loses the World Series. And I saw that argument presented, Aaron, at the trade deadline. Well, if the Brewers go get Skubal, like, and they win the World Series, they'll be baseball next year, has nothing to do with it.
According to WAR, you and I are more valuable than Kyle Tucker this year. He is a negative 0.1.
That's insane, man. That is insane. MVP candidate not too long ago, a guy that for the Cup, he wasn't a fan favorite in Chicago, but he had some big moments for them last year. And man, that is that's not good.
Yeah, I also know for the record that that's not how WAR works. It's replacement level, not us randos. But the point being, he has been very, very bad. I saw this yesterday when we were talking about Jake Bauers. This is just how my mind works, but Jake Bauers was a negative WAR player until this year in his career.
I believe it. He bounced around. Where was he? Cleveland, New York. Like, he's bounced around and just never really found a home. My fear is that, and I don't think this is going to shock anybody or surprise anybody, but he's probably priced himself out of Milwaukee this year, right?
0.6, negative 0.6, negative 0.2, 0, negative 0.2, negative 0.9, negative 0.4, 0.7, 2.8.
Yeah.
Like, he is a below replacement level player until basically last year. He was almost worth a win, and this year he's going to be worth 3+ wins.
Yeah, and
now he's going to be in free agency. He's going to make probably $100 million.
Probably will get close to 30 home runs. What is he at? 22 right now.
Yeah.
He'll probably finish with 30.
He'll probably make like 4, maybe 5 for $100 million. Could some team sign him for that? Is he too old for that kind of contract?
And the question too is going to be like, okay, like, for these guys that are entering free agency, what does it even look like? You know,
that
if you're Jake Bauers, let me present this. And then we got a few minutes here. Let me present this to you. If you're the Brewers, do you use this as a leverage opportunity? Hey, Jake, you've had a great year. We want to keep you in Milwaukee. We don't know if there's going to be baseball next year, but here is a 2-year contract. Here is a 4-year extension. You know, what do you think? But I don't know, man, because where do you play these guys? Blake Burke is on his way up. Andrew Fisher
you have to create space at some point.
I don't know where you're putting these people.
I think you just let Jake Bauers go.
I think so too.
You can't buy. I don't think you buy high on him. I don't think you give him that huge contract, and that's going to be disappointing, I think, for a lot of people after this year. But again, he was a negative player until this year. Are you going to bank on that?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
and I think Blake Burke will be here to start the year next year.
Over on the Growth Law video stream, Mitch Thunder Nellis, our great friend here, says, "Be Snizzle and the code." Yes, be snizzle in the code. Yes,
Morse code.
That's what we're going with today.
I love Mitch.
On the Wisconsin Sports Wake Up Call and on the Steve Zabin Show, which is coming up here in just a few minutes. Brandon Snide, Aaron Morris in with you. The Steve Zabin Show is coming up next. We will get into some Packers talk. We haven't really done too much Packers today, so Steve Zabin Show will be Packer heavy. We want to know what you are looking for tonight in the preseason game. What do you want to see? How important is it for you today in this game? You want to see the starters go more than one drive, a quarter, a half? What are your thoughts? Nicolay Law Talk and text line is open for you, 414-677-1250. We are talking Packers next on the Steve Zabin Show, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's now time for your fan weather forecast. Right now, 65 degrees and partly cloudy skies in Milwaukee. Rain is on its way this afternoon, an 85% chance around the area. The fan weather forecast brought to you by Milwaukee Area Napa Auto Care Association.
We're putting the band back together.
Forget it. No way.
We're on a mission from God.
I'm back, baby.
I want you to put the word out there that we back up. Understand me? We back up.
They say everyone deserves a second chance. Apparently, so do radio shows.
We are back, baby.
After years apart, countless bad sports takes from everyone else, and more than a few people saying, you know who should do a show together again?
We're back.
Somebody actually made it happen.
We are back. We are back.
Steve Czaban and Josh Albrecht, back together again.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
A man who loves digital assets, hates replay, and always leaves early. Milwaukee's adopted hometown son, Steve Czaban.
I can't believe what we're seeing. What just happened?
It's the Steve Czaban Show with Josh Albrecht on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is the Steve Czaban Show with Josh Albrecht. Without Steve Czaban and Josh Albrecht, as Aaron Morse and Brandon Sneid are back together again, doing another show.
Hey-o.
And we are basically just continuing on from the Wisconsin Sports Wake-Up Call here this morning. The only thing that we're not continuing, we're going to get away from the weather probably. We're going to get away from the Brewers for a little while because the Green Bay Packers play tonight. Preseason game number 2 on your local television stations and NFL Network if you're out of the area. Packers at Denver, 8 o'clock is the start time. I saw something 4th straight year in Denver. I mean, that just can't be true.
Yeah, and it's a place of horror.
Yeah.
It's where their season ended last year.
I don't know how you can go to an AFC team 4 years in a row. Obviously, no, it's preseason, but 4 years in a row you're in Denver. Seems almost impossible. But they're going to Denver, high altitude. And we'll see if that affects playing time at all. I doubt it because guys are probably not going to be playing for very long. I asked the listeners, the Nicolay Fan Talk and Text line, chime in 414-677-1250. What you are looking for tonight from the Packers? How long do you want players to play? How long do you want nobody to play at all that is meaningful? What do you want to see from those players? Are you looking for a touchdown from Jordan Love? What are you looking for in tonight's game? And is it even important? I don't know. Brandon Sneid, I ask you how long you want starters to play.
1 half.
Ooh. Okay.
So they played one series in preseason game 1, right? And Jordan Love went 4 for 6. They got a field goal from the GOAT, Trey Smack. I want him to play a half, but I'm hesitant to really nail that down because it is in Denver, and I have PTSD when it comes to playing in that building as where their season was. That the same game where it was Micah, Zach Bakabueli, was Zach Tom then, and Christian Watson went down, I believe.
I think so.
Christian Watson returned, but not good. So I want them. I'm a big proponent on playing in the preseason. Now, Matt LaFleur has come out and said they will not play in the final preseason game because they have the joint practices with his brother, and as he's the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm fine with that. But I do think it is important to get some live snaps. Like, obviously, practice is important. But I do want to see maybe, okay, if you don't want to go full half, then you can talk me into a quarter. But But I need to see more than a drive, I think. And the reason I say that, Aaron, is because there are still a lot of question marks with the current construction of this Green Bay Packers football team. Now, if Super Bowl is our aspirations, which I think it should be, and I think people that feel that way have a reason to feel that way. If you don't feel that way, I can also understand that as well, because this team has let you down before, and I understand that. But if this team does have Super Bowl aspirations, or if they're one of the better teams in the NFC, which I think they probably are, at least in the top 5, top 7 conversation, one of the biggest concerns is one of the most important positional groups in all of football, and that is the offensive line. Aaron Banks finally returned to practice, so I want to see what that starting. I don't even know if we're probably not going to see Aaron Banks in a preseason game. I highly doubt it after he just returned. But I want to see that offensive line against that Denver defensive line. I want to see more than one drive, right? And Pittsburgh, Highsmith played, Nick Herbig played. We didn't see TJ Watt. So the offensive line I thought did fairly well. You know, Jager Burton there, starting with Jacob Monk and obviously Jordan Morgan. I want to see Jordan Morgan a little bit more. I want to see an extension of Jordan Morgan's playing time at left tackle for the Packers. Now, it's such a tug of war, I think, Aaron, when you're talking about how much do you play these guys and do you risk injury? I get that, man, but you can get injured in week 1 of the season. Like, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I understand it. Heck, Aaron, was it 2024? We lived it when Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love goes down with a sprained MCL in week 1 of the season. And that sort of I didn't derail their season because Malik Willis saved them for a handful of weeks after that. But I mean, it can happen at any time. It really can. I know there's times as a Packer fan where they did not play in the preseason and then they go into the regular season and they look terrible. It is imperative, I think, Aaron, that this team from week 1 to whenever Micah returns is hitting on all cylinders, because they're going to need to win games without Micah. They can't start the season slow. I don't think they're going to lose to the Jets. I do think they'll beat Minnesota. I'm not saying that their schedule is a gauntlet to start the year, but we're lying to ourselves if we think that this team doesn't have to play in the preseason because we want them to be healthy, when we're also kind of risking a little bit of a slow start. They can't afford a slow start. They just can't, and they cannot wait until Micah comes back. Let's say he comes back week 6, Aaron. They can't be, what would that be? 2-3, 1-4. Like, they got it. They got to get off to a fast start. And I think playing in the preseason helps that. I think that we've seen that where teams, not every snap, not every quarter, right? Not every game, but like more than a drive, more than a series. I think it's important that this team plays. So I want to see them for a quarter, because I want to see what the actual offensive line looks like. Now, there still might be questions with that, because what does that look like in week 1 in Minnesota? Is it Aaron Banks? Is it Burton? Is it Monk? Is it Belton? Who knows? But I do want to see that offensive line, because I'm still not confident yet in that positional group. And honestly, when I look at this Packers roster, for right now, barring any other injuries, and I hope it doesn't happen, but just it is football, that's the only positional group, Aaron, where I'm like, man, I just don't know. I feel really good. I feel a lot better about the cornerback room with Cisse, St. Juice, and I know everybody's up in arms about Keyshawn Nixon, but I think he'll be fine. I think the Packers secondary will be fine, and their safety is one of the best safety rooms in the NFL. I think their linebacker core is going to be one of the best linebacker cores in the NFL. Their defensive line has turned into a strength. It seems like, Aaron, over training camp, it's been one of those positions where they're going to be tough to keep everybody that they want to keep, including Anthony Campbell, and Warren Brinson's off to a really good start. If I look at this team, I'm like, man, the offensive line is the one thing I have a question mark. That's why I want to see them play.
Which has never been the problem.
No.
It's never been the problem. I don't know why they have gotten away from that success, or how they've gotten away from that success. Brian Gutekunst, I think, just hasn't quite figured it out in terms of the type of guys he needs on the offensive line. I think he overreacted to the Lions and their offensive line and just threw a ton of money at Aaron Banks, which from minute
Twice.
1, second 1 that Aaron Banks was originally signed to the Green Bay Packers, I hated the deal. I did not understand it. You made him a top 5 paid guard for a guy who was always hurt and, frankly, not very good when healthy. So I think he overreacted to the size of Aaron Banks and the power that he can have. I don't like the signing, but he's going to have to play well, and he's going to have to start, and he's going to have to do well this year for the Packers offensive line to be good. So it is a worry because for so long it's never been a worry, and we haven't had to worry about it, and now it's like, ooh, okay, how is this going to work out? It's a bunch of unproven guys other than Baku Buwele. You've got Jordan Morgan at left tackle, who hasn't really been that good in his career, but apparently he's been looking really good, and they are confident in him being there. Aaron Banks at left guard, who has never stayed healthy and never been that good. You have Sean Ryan at center, who really had a solid year last year, but has never been anything special before in his career. Right guard, you're looking at Jaeger Burton or Jacob Monk, because Anthony Belton has played so poorly that he's not even in consideration for a starting spot anymore. Okay, well, you've got Burton, who's a rookie, and Monk, who was unplayable last year at center because he couldn't snap the ball properly. And then at right tackle, you got Zach Tom, formerly now Zach Baku-Buwele, who you're good with.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an equation leading to a lot of postseason success.
No, but it could.
It could,
right? Like it could.
But at this moment, it's not.
If Jordan, but like let's look at it from last year. And I think what you said is pretty damn spot on. Let's just look at it from last year. If Jordan Morgan plays instead of Rasheed Walker, do you think they're better as an offensive line last year than they were?
No.
Really?
In last year, like I would have rather had Rasheed Walker play than Jordan Morgan.
Okay. Why? Because I think Jordan Morgan is a clear upgrade over Rasheed Walker.
Maybe right now.
That's what I'm saying.
But last year he wasn't.
But Goody said that he won the competition at left tackle. Remember, those guys were in competition last camp. And the reason that Morgan didn't start at left tackle is they knew Rasheed Walker had a year left on his contract. They knew he was going to walk, so they were just getting what they could out of him. And they wanted Jordan Morgan. I'm paraphrasing Goody here. They wanted Jordan Morgan to be kind of their swing guy. You need him at right tackle or right guard. I mean, he played everywhere. And obviously is now at the left tackle. He was drafted as a left tackle. That's what he played at Arizona. That is his natural position. So I think it's a clear upgrade over Rasheed Walker. Now let's look at the left guard position. Let's say it's going to be Jaeger Burton. Right now, Burton is an upgrade over Aaron Banks, right? Year two, I shouldn't say year two because he didn't have a full year. He played 9 games at the center position last year. But I think Sean Ryan entering his quote-unquote year 2 at center will be a better version of Sean Ryan than we saw last year. Right guard is the question mark. It's sort of become the dark hole for the Green Bay Packers on the offensive line. Anthony Belton, I don't think Anthony Belton is a guard. But I digress. It is what it is. Like that is a position that I think
that's why they're moving him to basically be a swing tackle.
I think so too. And now Darian Kennard is injured, so that plays into it. So let's just circle right guard because we haven't figured that one out yet. But right tackle, Baku Buwele, we're sold on. So there's one. I mean, I think they can be a lot better than they were last year. I mean, they were. It depends on where you look. PFF has different rankings. ESPN, The Athletic, they all have different offensive line rankings from a year ago. Somewhere in the bottom third of the NFL is where the Packers were, 23rd and on, really. I mean, there was one where they were like 28th ranked offensive line. If they can be 15, Aaron, that's a massive jump from where they were last year. And I think this is the optimistic side of me, Aaron, out here on a Friday morning, is projecting that they will be in that range. They don't need to be a top 10. They don't need to be a top 5. If you get middle of the pack offensive line play from that group this year, if they had that in Chicago up 21-3, if they could generate one first down on the ground, Aaron, in that second half, they win that ball game. Now, it also helps if you just make the extra points and the field goals, but nonetheless, they couldn't get anything going on the ground against the Chicago Bears. They couldn't milk any of that clock in that wild card game. I just think this team, this offensive line is going to be better than they were last year. And I think Jordan Morgan is a clear upgrade over Rasheed Walker. And look, if you don't believe that, like, go look at what the NFL thought of Rasheed Walker in free agency.
We think, yeah, it's true. we can think that it's going to be better, but again, it's still 4 question marks on a 5-man offensive line.
I don't think there's a question mark. You're okay. I love that we disagree because this is a good conversation. But you have a question mark over Sean Ryan?
Yeah. He's done it for 1 year, and last year, frankly, I don't think he was like that good where you're like, oh yeah, he's gonna be solid again this year.
Aaron Banks
was
was actually
fine.
solid last year, though. If
Sean
you look
Ryan
at the
was
numbers,
fine. Like he can be the fifth best offensive lineman on your group, maybe even the fourth. I'll say, but I don't think he was like any world beater last year. He was fine. He was a nice piece, but I don't know, because of one solid, nice season, that I can just trust him to hold down the center job and be like, oh yeah, don't have to worry about him.
I mean, no, but I do love the nastiness he brings. I do think, again, he didn't start the year at center last year, right? He was thrown into there after Elton Jenkins was anointed, quote unquote, the center job, even though he didn't want to do it. And Sean Ryan, obviously, with the injury to Elton Jenkins, had to slide over from right guard to center and found a way. But I think now you're entering a full off season, a full year, a new contract, a lot to prove. I think Sean Ryan is going to be. I think he's going to be. Again, I think he'll be a middle of the pack off center for the Packers. That's an upgrade from where they were last year. This is a team. Let's not also lose track of this, Aaron. Let's not lose track of this. Speaking of Denver, and from the 608, good morning, guys. I just want the Packers to come home in one piece. House of horrors out there in Denver. Let's not forget what happened in Denver last year, Aaron. Like this, they were 9-3-1. There were people going to the Potawatomi Sportsbook, booking a ticket for the Packers to go to the Super Bowl. They were up 9 points in the second half against the number 1 seed in the AFC. And then Xavier McKinney drops an interception, and then their season falls apart because a few plays later, Parsons goes down, Zach Tom, then now Zach Bakuwele goes down with the injury, and then Christian Watson goes in an ambulance to the hospital. Like, their season fell apart in that game, in that second half. But this also was the best team in the league at one point in December, Aaron. And that is with an offensive line that wasn't world beaters with Rasheed Walker and Aaron Banks.
It kind of felt like the Brewers this year, I think.
A little bit.
It's like,
yeah.
Wow, they're the best team in football, but it didn't necessarily feel like the Packers
because they couldn't put it together, right?
Yeah,
they win on Thanksgiving against Detroit. They sneak out of a win in Lambeau against the Bears, but then they go into to Denver and they put a whooping. They didn't finish, they didn't win, but that first half was a whooping.
Losing to the Browns,
right?
Like that was, they were just up and down for most of the season, but it was like, oh wait, they're the best team. They're playing like the best team, and then the injuries happened. Someone else on the Nick Laylaw fan talking text line, 262. All I want out of the Packer game tonight is to stay healthy. And then over on the Growth Law video stream on YouTube, Captain Bunghole says, I just want both teams to have fun.
I wouldn't mind fun either, but fun for me would seem the offensive line generate enough protection.
Yeah, basically it seems like everyone's like, we don't really care about the game. Like just get stay healthy, get out of there. This game doesn't mean too much.
I think the second preseason game is the most important. If you're judging the preseason games, obviously, however you want to judge them, I think the second, Aaron, I'm curious your thoughts. I think the second is the most important. The first one, you're kind of shaking off some rust. Training camp had just started a week or so prior to it. You're getting acclimated to everything. Week 2 of the preseason, you're now, 2 weeks, 3 weeks away from the start of the NFL season. You kind of know what your offensive line is going to look like, what your receiver room is going to look like, what your defensive line, for the most part, who's going to be where. I think, and we know a lot of teams don't play guys in week 3 of their preseason because, as I mentioned, Matt LaFleur is not going to do it, but other teams don't do it either because they want to make sure everybody's rested and ready to go week 1. But week 2, I think, is like sort of the more important one if you're looking at all 3 of the preseason games and judging them based on which one is the most important.
All right, more to come on this Packers-Broncos preseason game here tonight in Denver, 8 o'clock, local TV stations and NFL Network. If we're taking health out of it, we're taking that, what do you want to see on the field? What do you want to see these guys do? Jordan Love, what do you want to see from him? Marshawn Lloyd, Christian Watson, Matthew Golden, Brandon Cisse, Keyshawn Nixon, whoever it is, Trey Smack, whoever it is, what do you want to see on the field? What are you looking for? If we're not taking health into the equation, what are your eyes looking for tonight in Denver in preseason game number 2? This is the Steve Zabin Show with Josh Albrecht. No Steve, no Josh. It's Aaron Morris and Brandon Snyder in today. We'll be right back here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back into the Steve Zabin Show with Josh Albrecht. No Steve, no Josh. It's Aaron Morrison, Brandon Snide here for the next half hour or so, leading you into 9 to noon with Kuhn. I assume it's not just a really weird Packers fan, but on the Growth Law video stream on YouTube, Sean says bear down.
Bears are down.
Bears, yes, they do look down. They look quite down, according to a lot of people yesterday in that Bengals joint practice. Yeah. So maybe the Bears need to figure out how to be up. I don't know. Not great for them.
Well, I mean, Ben Johnson says he wants more than the Super Bowl, so good luck.
That's true. Yep. You got to score 40 points a game.
That's
what you want.
I don't know where you stand on it, Aaron. I just wish like coaches and players just don't go. I get it. It's part of media. Like it's part of our job to get, the best quotes and whatnot. But I would prefer these guys not to just say anything.
I would. I think I'm opposite of you. I want them to speak the truth. I'm so sick of Matt LaFleur talking into a microphone. I hate it. I can't stand listening to press conferences from him. For the last 7 years, I've listened to his press conferences over and over, and I could probably recite them over and over. And it's not because I've listened to him so much. It's because he says the same exact thing every single press conference. I'm so sick of post game after a loss. Yeah, it's tough. We just didn't play well enough. And, it starts with me. I got to look in the mirror and do my hair and then figure out what we need to do better.
Are you a Matt LaFleur? That was really good, by the way. But are you a Matt LaFleur hater?
I wouldn't say a hater.
You just don't like him.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a supporter.
Were you on the bandwagon to go a different direction?
Yeah. Yep.
Again, we didn't plan any of the show, but now I'm curious. Where would you have want them to go had they moved on from Matt LaFleur? You didn't care.
Don't care. I don't believe in Matt LaFleur as a guy who's going to elevate them to a Super Bowl. I think Matt LaFleur has done a nice job for what they needed at the time. It was a great hire. He got them to where they needed to be. But I'm not sure that he is the guy to get them to that next jump. And maybe he goes somewhere else at some point and he does do that. But then I would just say okay, it just wasn't going to work in Green Bay.
Yeah, I guess I'm sort of in the middle, which is not really a fun spot to live. And John calls me on the fence snide for a reason, but I think he is the best option right now. This coaching cycle wasn't great, right? There wasn't anybody that out there that was, I feel like that was going to wow, Ed Policy and Goody and go out there and go in a different direction. But I also think Matt LaFleur just doesn't get a lot of the credit for the transition from first off, let's back it up. Getting Aaron Rodgers back to an MVP level because he had fallen off a little bit. And I say that as, one of the biggest Aaron Rodgers supporters. So he doesn't get enough credit for that, in my opinion. He does not get any credit for whatever reason for Jordan Love being one of the best quarterbacks in football. And that's not just me saying that as a fan, Aaron. And I think you would agree. The numbers indicate he's one of the best quarterbacks in football, and he doesn't get any credit for Malik Willis. He navigated wins without Jordan Love with Malik Willis, and Willis got paid.
Yeah, he does get credit for what he's done with the quarterbacks. Absolutely, for sure. I don't. We just haven't done enough Packers over the past month or so, and we haven't really had games to react to things. But people will also learn I'm not a huge supporter of the quarterback either. But
Aaron bleeping Morris, I thought I loved you, man.
Yeah, but we can.
No. Why?
I also don't think that he is good enough to lead them to a Super Bowl. But it's not necessarily because I think he's bad. I don't think he's bad. I think he's a good quarterback. But Jared Goff is also a good quarterback, and Jared Goff will never win a Super Bowl.
Well, he's gotten there though.
Yeah, but he won't win it. There's a reason why the Rams got rid of him.
But Jordan Love's advanced metrics clear.
I don't give a rat's about advanced metrics. I look at what I'm seeing on the field, and Jordan Love is a good quarterback and probably a top 12 quarterback, somewhere about 8 to 12, probably 8 to 10, more likely 8 to 12. And I don't think 8 to 12 is good enough to win a Super Bowl in the NFL.
Is he better than Sam Darnold?
Yeah, probably.
Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl.
Yep. And so there's, Yes, I get that counterpoint, but there is always going to be somebody that's going to buck the trend. There's always going to be the exception to the rule. I always bring up Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer is one of the worst quarterbacks ever, and he won a Super Bowl because he had everything go right for him. He needed the infrastructure around him to win the Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer wasn't winning the Super Bowl if he didn't have one of the greatest defenses of all time. And the Ravens had that for him, and he didn't have to really do much because of that. So there's always going to be those quarterbacks that randomly win it because they have a great group around them.
Yeah, like a Joe Flacco. Yeah.
So,
but I mean,
it can happen. I just don't think Jordan Love is going to be the guy that, like, by himself elevates a roster to a Super Bowl.
But he did it not in a Super Bowl, but he did it in the not preseason game. Goodness, I'm all over the place. He did it in the wild card round. He had 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Like, he did everything that he could possibly do to win that. I mean, he threw a touchdown to Matthew Golden. What was there? 3 minutes on the clock, 5 minutes left on the clock. Like, they should have won that game. So he did elevate them in the postseason. He just got let down by every other facet of the game.
Right, but he's not going to be able to do the things before that moment. Didn't do enough to overcome not having a perfect circumstance around him. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only so many quarterbacks that can do it, and those are the quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning, the guys who are winning the Super Bowls.
How much stock do you put in before the concussion in Chicago, right? That was week 16, very end of the year. Going into that week, Aaron, he was number 3 on an MVP list. As far as anywhere you look, he was in the top 3.
Put him there. Last year, you're saying?
Correct.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put him there. I would have flipped him with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was the MVP of the team last year. And I think it's very clear. He was the most valuable. Micah Parsons is the most valuable Green Bay Packer. And there's no doubt in my mind about it.
But you say doesn't elevate it. I don't buy that because he has done it. Now,
they lost 5 in a row to end the year. Where was he to elevate the team?
He wasn't playing. He didn't play in the last few weeks. He didn't play in Minnesota. He didn't play against Baltimore.
Their losing streak was with him in the lineup at times. Yes. They're like,
but I mean, I could point to, again, the quarterback is one part of the game. And so it's 1/3 of the game. Not even. It's a half of that because obviously there's other assets to the offense and just the quarterback. But if you pull up his numbers from Chicago, does that not scream that's a guy that probably should have won a team that should have won the game? I mean, he threw, I'll pull up the exact numbers here in the stats here from the loss against the Bears. But like, what else did
the playoff game?
What else did you want him to do? I mean, he carried them.
They were up, let's see, 21-3 going into halftime. They had 6 points in the second half.
Right, but that's not necessary. They had more than that because they had a touchdown
in the second half.
Well, that was their 6
points.
Yeah, they missed the extra point things. But again, we're not talking about this if McManus makes any.
And we're not talking about it.
He was 24. He was 24 of 46, 323 yards, 4 touchdowns. He outplayed Caleb Williams, who is on the cover of Madden.
Yeah, 50% completion percentage. They scored 6 points in the second half.
Couldn't get anything going on the ground, and it is.
And I'm saying that's a quarterback that you can totally rely on to elevate your team to the Super Bowl needs to overcome those things. He needs to be able to go out there and complete more than 51% of his passes to lead when things aren't going right. Listen, I'm not saying he's bad. I think he played really well in that game. But at some point, you have to if you're going to be that guy, if you're going to be a top 5 quarterback in the league, you have to take games like that and just say, yeah, we're not losing. And I think part of it is Matt LaFleur also does this. So they're a great tandem is they just say, hey, we've got a lead. Let's just kind of hang out and see how it goes. And then they get themselves in trouble because a team makes a comeback and then they're in a role where they can't overcome that. That's all I'm saying is at some point, both of those guys need to be able to elevate their game a little extra bit to capitalize on some of these games where maybe everything isn't going right.
But he has put together in the 3 years he's been a starter, Aaron, some of the best postseason play we've seen. In Dallas, it was I
don't consider 50% completion percentage good play.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. If you want to take that, sure. What about Dallas? You put any stock into that was the number 2 seed that they did. And they went out there and put a whooping on the Cowboys in Arlington on the road.
Yeah,
when nobody
he played well. Yep.
I mean, out of the three postseason appearances, I take the one in Philly away. You and I were playing wide receiver for the Packers in Philly, and the Packers never were gonna. Certainly after the kickoff was fumbled to begin that game, they were never gonna go anywhere in that game anyway.
Quarterbacks, the best quarterbacks in the league, do not care what wide receivers they have out there.
Is Jalen Hurts one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL?
I do think so.
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Yep.
I guess we're just not going to see. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a top
fan.
I don't think he's a top 12 quarterback in the NFL.
Should we go? I mean, we can go through it. The quarterbacks I would take over Jordan Love.
Yeah, name them. I mean, take the obvious way. We know it's going to be Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Would you take Lamar Jackson over?
Yep.
Right now, you would.
Yep.
Okay.
I would take
so
Joe
that's
Burrow
3
over him.
Okay. Still hasn't won a Super Bowl.
He made it,
and they have barely put together a winning season.
He's been hurt.
Exactly.
Okay. Well,
that's part of it.
Jordan Love being hurt. I mean, when Joe Burrow is healthy, they win a lot of games. Let's see. I would probably take Justin Herbert, although he hasn't had the success either. I would take Matthew Stafford.
That's the biggest argument.
I would take Matthew Stafford. I would take Brock Purdy.
Purdy. Yep. What has Purdy done?
Brock Purdy has been phenomenal in his career.
Brock Purdy doing what? What has he done? You said has he elevated their play? No.
I think he has.
What have they?
Well, the one time that they would have won the Super Bowl, his elbow got shattered.
I mean, okay.
He was elevating his team there, and he just wasn't able to.
I seen anymore. Who's the backup? Mac Jones come in and look really good out there.
Yeah, you can look good for a few games at a time.
Well, I mean, but that, again,
with a good game plan.
That's not many quarterbacks are still taking over Jordan Love, and I would even push. I would push back.
Yeah,
I would push back on Purdy and Herbert. I mean, if we're talking about postseason, what the hell has Justin Herbert ever done other than sit on the sideline with Madison Beer on Instagram? What has he done?
Listen, part of this is also just I don't like the quarterbacks who.
I know why you don't like Jordan Love.
Right.
I have a theory.
Well,
I know why.
No, it's because, listen, I know what you're going to say. It's because of Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Oh,
it's going to be because, let me guess. How old are you?
I am 29.
So you were 23 in 2020, right? What were your thoughts when they selected Jordan Love?
I hated it.
I
hated it. It was it was one of the worst draft picks.
That's why
ever.
you hate Jordan. That's why you're not a fan of him.
To be worth that pick, you have to win a Super Bowl and probably 2 to be worth that pick.
No, man.
Because if you go elsewhere with that pick, you have a greater chance. Listen, it's the same thing with the Brewers. When you have the chance to go all in and win a Super Bowl, you have to do it.
Man.
I don't care about the future of your team. Win a Super Bowl.
I love doing a show with you.
Win a Super Bowl.
I'm glad for the 95%, you and I are on the same page.
Go all out.
We discovered that we are worlds
I wish
apart.
I was a Rams fan sometimes. They do not care about picks. I do not care about picks.
Aaron, they have won Super Bowl.
Yep, exactly.
They've won Super Bowl in the same amount of time as the Packers have a Super Bowl, right? When was the last Super Bowl before they?
And they've been to one more.
They've been to another
one and win another
with a
one
guy
this
that
year.
used. Okay,
yeah.
Taking Justin Herbert over Jordan Love is crazy, and
he has more skill, and they've done the same.
How
amount
does more skill? What is it?
Justin Herbert?
Should we pull up the numbers?
He's got more talent in his body than.
Then
Jordan
why
Love
hasn't
does.
he? Why hasn't he won a postseason game yet?
And they have the same amount of postseason success practically.
Practically,
one win for Jordan Love over 0 for Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert's been the starting quarterback for how long?
For the same amount of time.
No.
Yeah,
They've
been in the league for the same amount of time.
Correct. They've been in the league the same amount of time. Jordan Love didn't start until year 4.
Jordan
My
Love's
friend.
problem. He wasn't good enough to start.
That's why. See, you are a perfect example, Mr. Morse, on why I think not only the NFL, but just Packer fans in general don't like Jordan Love, because they don't think that he's a bad quarterback.
No, I don't think he's a
They
bad
hated
quarterback.
the draft pick, so they're trying to confirm their feelings in 2020.
it's not
That's
a
the only
it's not a
explanation.
confirmation
You can't be a
bias.
top 3 MVP candidate and sit
That's a
here and
fake-
tell
it's
me
a fake ranking.
and
He
tell
wasn't-
me that he's not
you
a
think-
real good quarterback.
You
That's
think he was
false.
you think he was the 3rd most valuable player in football
Yes.
last year? No.
Aaron,
He was not the
yes.
third most valuable player in
Aaron,
football.
yes, he
There
was.
were two pass rushers more valuable than him last year.
You're in.
Miles
no.
Garrett was more valuable than him last year.
Miles Garrett?
And Micah Parsons was more valuable than him last year.
Oh, my goodness. If Sparky wouldn't fire me, I'd be done right now. Miles Garrett more valuable in Cleveland?
Yep, he was more valuable of a player. Do you know how bad that team would have been if Miles Garrett was on it? The Browns would have lost every game 35-0 without Miles Garrett on that team.
I cannot believe what I'm hearing from you. We were doing so well for the first 90 minutes. There's a lot of reaction. I don't know. I wasn't expecting this to even go in this direction.
I was saving this for football season for like
I think this is a good time.
I'm just saying I wasn't ready to share with the people my Matt LaFleur Jordan Love takes.
I can see the Matt. I can understand the Matt LaFleur. The Jordan Love numbers or arguments don't make any sense to me. He's the best quarterback.
He misses
on third down. He's the best quarterback against the blitz. He's the best quarterback on EPA per play. Like what?
He misses way too many open throws. His decision making at times is really, really bad. I.e. Brown's game, third down, throwing across the middle straight to a defender. He at times is quite shaky.
What has Josh Allen done? Don't save me the MVP.
Most valuable player.
Okay, great.
And should have two.
What does that do? Does MVP again? Fine. He's one of the more talented quarterbacks. He had a really good year. Does he not think that he doesn't need to do anything in the postseason?
Has he not made multiple AFC championship games? And really the only reason why he hasn't made a Super Bowl is because he ran into an extremely better team in the Kansas City Chiefs in an overtime rule that was flawed.
If you're again, to your argument, if you're that good, you should elevate your team. He should have elevated his team.
I believe he did. Listen, if Jordan Love would have went down on the Chiefs and scored a touchdown with 13 seconds remaining, and then his defense gave up 75 yards in 13 seconds, yes, I could agree that Jordan Love did enough to elevate his team. That is an absurd thing he went down and won the game with 13 seconds left. If your defense gives up a lead with 13 seconds left, there isn't anything you can do. If Jordan Love was in that position, I'd be saying the same thing.
I'm shocked, and there's so much reaction that we should get to on the other side because there is. This is a fascinating conversation.
This was supposed to be a week 4 thing, Brandon. Why'd you bring this out?
No, you can't wait till week 4 because then you're playing into either if Jordan Love is having a slow start, then your argument's even better.
Fair. This is if people listen to me in lacrosse for years now, I've been saying the same exact thing for years.
You're too close
on both
to
of
the
these
border
guys.
over there.
I know. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back in the Steve Zabin Show with Josh Albrecht right after this, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That commercial break podcast was really good.
And for those wondering, we were still yelling at each other in the other studio.
I need to hit this before we are off. The 919. Wow. Okay. Don't know where that's from, but 919.
I think that's Justin in North Carolina.
Oh, okay. He says, using this logic, Aaron Rodgers only elevated his team once because he should have overcame a lot more.
They should have had more. They should have had more.
Wrong. When you go 120 yards in 50 seconds with 2 Hail Marys, that's elevating your team. Aaron Rodgers
but he should have had more
team in Arizona.
They should have had more than one Super Bowl. If he's,
I agree. But I think
that's the point.
He elevated his team year after year, every time. You can go to Arizona when Carlos Dansby sacked him on the hands of the face. Rodgers put up 45 points against the Cardinals. That is elevating your team. Rodgers elevated his team so many times and still came away with losses. You can elevate your team and still lose the game. That's not what I'm not saying if you lose, that means you didn't elevate. But you have to, at times, counteract things that are going wrong. Rodgers counteract things that were going wrong all the time. Like, to say that Aaron Rodgers didn't elevate the team is...
Yeah, but he has some playoff duds in there, too.
Sure. As do every quarterback.
Right. That's what I mean. But
Peyton Manning had playoff duds, and so did Tom Brady.
Right.
And so does Patrick Mahomes. But for the most part, those guys have elevated their teams. Even if it's a loss, they have elevated their teams. Where in those games, those losses would have not been 3 points or an overtime loss. Those losses would have been 2-3 touchdowns in regulation.
This is from the 262. Brandon, what is Aaron smoking? I don't know. Maybe we need to go in for a drug test.
Not once in my life.
This is also from Justin in North Carolina. Terrible take by Aaron. If Sam Darnold and Jalen Hurts can win a Super Bowl, then so can Jordan Love. I completely agree.
I said that the exceptions happen, but they need everything around them to go right. And I do not put Jalen Hurts in that conversation. Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but Jalen Hurts
was the best player in 2 Super Bowls. He was the best player. He should have won MVP. And
it also helps that he had one of the best defenses as well.
Jalen Hurts outperformed Patrick Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls in a row.
The Chiefs were. They were at the very end.
Jalen Hurts does not belong in that conversation. Sam Darnold does belong in that conversation. The Seahawks had everything around them go right.
I think if Jordan Love,
Sam Darnold was good enough to not mess it up.
I think if Jordan Love wasn't drafted where he was drafted, you would have different feelings about Jordan Love. I do think it is you're trying to confirm your feelings when Jordan Love was drafted, and you are probably the majority.
Listen, I hated the draft pick, but it has nothing to do with my thoughts on if
he was a second round pick, you would be like, oh man, yeah, this guy, okay.
If he's great or good has nothing to do with where he's drafted.
He is an MVP type quarterback, though. He can win.
I just disagree. I just don't think.
There's nothing that you have that supports that argument. Just saying you disagree. All the numbers say he is. So what are you saying?
I think Micah Parsons is much more valuable.
We're not comparing them to. I'm not comparing Jordan Love to the pass rusher. I'm comparing Jordan Love to the other quarterbacks in the NFL.
You're saying he's a top 3 MVP candidate.
Yes.
He wasn't last year.
Yes, he was.
Stafford and Drake May were higher. I would have put Micah Parsons higher on that list.
You were wrong, though. You were wrong because that's not what the voters said.
Because the voters said so? Because the voters told because the voters who are sleeping with coaches voting on
if you watch Jordan Love and you can sit here and tell me he's a guy that can't elevate a team, then you're not watching the same thing that everybody else in the world is watching.
9-8 year after year. That's some elevation, baby.
But the quarterbacks you'll take over him are doing the same thing.
7 seed to 7 seed. I can't wait to see him elevate him to a 7 seed this year. That's all I'm saying.
So what? Okay, but what is Justin Herbert? But you'll take Justin Herbert over him. What has Herbert done? What has Brock Purdy done?
One less playoff win for Justin Herbert and more talent in his right arm than Jordan Love has in his body.
More talent in his right arm that can't elevate his team. Okay,
right. But
that's your words, not mine.
1 playoff win versus 0 playoff wins. That's what I'm talking about. Then the tiebreaker is ending up being you're taking talent into account as well.
You got me fired up before 9 to noon. Now I'm going to yell at John and Rami.
Yeah, you probably are. And then John's going to be like, wow, that Aaron guy's an idiot. Because I'm not saying Jordan Love's bad. I just don't think he's great. That's all. I don't think he's top 5. I'd go 8 to 10. 8 to 10 is where I'd go for Jordan Love. Maybe he can elevate his game this year and make me say he's top 5. But for now, no.
Man.
This has been the Steve Zabin Show with Josh Albrecht. No Steve, no Josh. They'll be back on Monday. Aaron Morris and Brandon Snide saying goodbye. 9 to noon coming up next with John Kuhn, Rami Makloff, and Brandon Snide here from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Try now, we can only lose, and our love become a